Alright, are we ready to enact plan Curiosity's gone, but he still wants us to do these things plan?
Curiosity's gone, but I can't remember what he wanted to do because I didn't choose to remember that.
Don't worry, I remember what he wanted to do.
Something sneaky.
He texted you it, didn't he, Kylar?
No, I was paying attention when he said it. He hasn't texted me anything.
Okay.
Kylar's a good brother. He knows what his brother wants.
He hasn't learned yet then. Okay.
No, just that I'm saving the pain from the Star Wars campaign.
Alright. So, yes, as we return, as I said, Olaf, how loudly did you make your exclamation of the change in your map?
It was loud enough that I heard it.
I don't know. Medium loudness.
Alright, and Winter and Gorham, you're now over there?
Extra medium?
Yes.
I am.
Okay. So, as a couple, as Aerie and Vinda and presumably Harmony are paying attention to Assistant Heartgaze, the three of you are over there examining the map together. You may continue your conversation.
What do you mean altered? Didn't it look like that before?
Negative.
Well, what did it look like?
I don't know. I didn't have a copy of it. I didn't realize it was going to change itself spontaneous.
What's the map of now?
I'm trying really hard, Bazak. I don't understand you.
What's the map of now?
What did you say, Zeri? It's a map of the town?
From comparing it to the maps you found, it looks comparable to the map of Zagahta.
Well, now it looks like a map of Zagahta.
Huh.
Then you're positive it wasn't this same map before?
Yeah, I'm positive. Before it was a map of... how do you pronounce the name of this continent?
Quittus.
Before it was a map of Quittus.
Well, not all of Quittus, just a certain area, right?
No, it was the map of the continent. That's what took you so long, is that you were not familiar with the map of the continent, and then when you got there, I mean, it was difficult for you guys to determine where on the continent that it was seeming to indicate. But as you are having this discussion, Aerie, the assistant, she says, and well, I mean, there'll likely be a vote. It's not an automatic system, but is something wrong over there? Turning to the three of you.
What? No, nothing. Everything's fine. We're all fine here now. How are you?
Is there something wrong with the maps? I'm certain that they are all, I mean, they are, as I said, outdated, but they are well kept and maintained.
I'm sure that's true.
don't understand. You all seem like there was a conversation going on.
No, the frustration was with my map that I have here, not with your maps.
Well, what is wrong with your map?
I'm not really sure. It's given me fits. I'm sure I'll get it figured out.
Oh. Well, perhaps... Well, if I knew what was wrong, perhaps I could direct you to someone who could help. There are many talented people here in Zagahta who know many things. I'm not very good with maps myself. I mostly have a head for keeping track of things and, well, books. But if you would let know, I could probably direct you to someone who would know more.
I don't want to tell any more people about my secret treasure map. Okay. I relent and I say, it seems to have altered itself spontaneously.
She frowns. Oh. I don't think maps do that.
Neither did we.
I'm a journeyman cartographer and I've never known a map to do this.
Have you spoken to Tela about it?
No.
Well, she knows a lot about strange things. I don't know about if it's magical. That's the only word I can think of for something like this. But she might know. She might be able to help you.
If you want, we can go there later. That was one of the locations I wanted to visit next anyways.
Maybe. Before we go, I want to look at these maps a little bit more and see if there's any other details that I could notice.
Very well. You are welcome to it. It's the least I could give you for all the things you've done for us so far.
Thank you. Is anybody else going to do anything here? Because I could just busy myself with that for the remainder of the time.
I mean, you'll do that. You kind of hear
As you say
Curiosity's voice.
you hear Curiosity say, "Hey guys, I found something. Come look." And
No, I was asking that out of character. I'm sorry.
It works both ways. In a voice that's not terribly convincing.
I won't go. I'll stay.
Harmony, what is your brother found this time?
He's not my brother. Clarification.
Okay. What is your brother found this time?
I don't know.
Brother referring to racial features, not necessarily familial features, so.
Well, let's find out. Yeah, and I'll kind of open the door wider. Curiosity, what is it?
What? Real quick, what is the assistant mayor's name again? Heartgaze?
Gaze.
Heartgaze.
Yes.
She stares into your soul.
Into your heart.
Stop that.
Those no.
Soul starer. That's her shattered glass name.
Actually, this would be Heart Starer, but okay.
No, it's cooler if it changes both words. Anyway.
Yeah, but no, at the same time. The seat of the emotion pure.
Anyway.
And Tela
Yes.
Phoenix Shade is the alchemist?
Yes.
So I open the door further and ask Curiosity what he's talking about.
Heartgaze follows in behind you, curious about the situation.
Yeah, Aerie will follow as well.
It's like, now I can't use that word without it not sounding like a pun every single time.
Intrigued. Just start saying intrigued for everything.
It's not always appropriate.
Intriguing.
That's where you have to bring things into harmony.
And then I stab you in the face.
You brought it upon yourself!
She just turned to Sherlock Holmes and starts saying, elementary. Which is a phrase he never actually used in the books. But that is another discussion for another time. Anyway, as you come in, curiosity points at the ledger, and he says, it looks as though this book has got names written on it. I think someone has been entered in. We've found someone whose one of these names might apply to. And Heartgaze, she takes the book from him, and she scopes through the names written. Yes, this is the book we use for logging in those who've gone into the vault. She looks at the rest of you a little puzzled. I don't understand. What's the significance of this?
Nobody's gonna say anything.
I mean, curiosity would be like, the name L. It's the waitress that was spending time with the mayor is Laura.
Waitress? Laura?
Yes, we're sorry to have done so, but we decided to keep on investigating, and we found out that the mayor has been visiting the Crimson Force pretty much daily and such, and lately he's been focused in on one particular young lady, and her name is Laura, which starts with L.
As soon as you kind of click the pieces for her, you see her face sort of drop, and she, with the book still in her hand, slowly melts into one of the blue velvet seats. And she sighs and says, oh no, what did he get himself into?
That is one of the things we're trying to figure out. One of the things that could be at play here is a form of magic or a potion of such. Based on what our witnesses and our investigation have turned up, he could have been under the influence of such devices, chemical or magical, and it may not be good.
I knew he was seeing someone. He seemed happier recently. And, well, he had me make a special purchase recently. But I wasn't sure who it was. But now that you say that, I think I might know.
Alright, then go ahead.
Oh, well, just... And she looks at the book. L, you said? Yes. This woman came often, and the mayor always gave her entry when she asked it. But he wouldn't. I never knew her name, and he never wanted me in there for their meetings, which is not entirely unusual. Some people just prefer talking to the mayor, and they don't like it feeling crowded. I'm not privy to all the things the mayor does, but, well, perhaps I should have been more aware. I don't know. I guess I don't really pay that much attention to people, now that I'm thinking about it.
That's alright. Yeah, sometimes that happens. It's okay.
Anyway, you think that this Laura, you think her coming to the archive is significant for some reason?
Assuming that L is Lelora, it could possibly be.
We don't really have any other reason for why she would be spending so much time with the mayor.
There's not a chance that they really loved each other?
Well, talking to one of the waitresses at the tavern made it seem like it was kind of weird. She was kind of suspicious of it. So, maybe. And we're just following leads here.
The way the puzzle's being put together, it indicates more that he was being manipulated. He may have had feelings on one side, but I do not think that they were reciprocated.
Yes, he certainly did have feelings.
But we're only at the beginning of this investigation, and things can change. They could have both been mixed up in something that was far bigger than they could have imagined.
Well, if you think the archives are important, I could investigate. I could see if we're missing any documents, or if there's anything in particular that was recently used or researched. I know you probably came in here wanting to see for yourself, but I'm afraid that's restricted. The only reason she was allowed entry is because the mayor gave her access. In order for me to give you that same access, there'd be paperwork to file and time to go through. I'm sorry, it's just almost impossible at the moment. For quick access, that is.
Not to worry, not to worry. I figured as such. I'm certain my friend would be curious to go in and investigate every single document he could find in there. But I believe your eyes would probably be better for locating any recently disturbed documents that would correspond thereabouts with the dates that Miss L or Miss Lelora visited.
Her face narrows and she looks almost sort of puzzled and saddened and just perplexed all at once. And she thinks hard for a moment and says, I don't understand. There's nothing in those vaults except sensitive things for Zagahta. And by that I mean, bank accounts, tax numbers, things we don't want getting into the wrong hands. But nothing anyone would care about. This town is... There's nothing here. It's a stop on the way to Quetus, or Quester. It's not a... There's nothing significant here. Nothing that I can think of that would require someone to murder the beloved mayor and trick us all.
Well, the motives of somebody like this could easily be grander than what we understand. But it's possible, and now this is pure speculation, but it's possible that this case also has a connection with the Troglodytes. I won't say much more, but because of it being pure speculation, but there is possibility. We'll have to investigate and see what's going on. There's just too many connections for me to ignore.
Very well. Rin's promised to do everything he can, but he's not an investigator. Nothing like this happens here. But you all seem like you're, well, adventurers, heroes. You came in my first time of need. Perhaps, well, if you find anything more, please, will you share it with me?
Of course, of course. You and this town deserve to know the answers of the course of this investigation. No matter how small it may seem, it would be good to have closure for whatever is going on with this.
She nods and replaces the book on the desk. And then she gets up and she starts to move back to her office before she stops. Then she turns around and looks at you all again. I just wanted to say thank you again for keeping the mayor's, well, for keeping it secret for now. I know it might seem like an odd request, but it's only been a day, and, well, despite the recent problems we've had with the mayor, he was very much loved. I would prefer to tell the entire town when we have more of the answers, a more complete picture of what happened, before letting them all know that he's gone.
Of course, of course. Yes, we will be discreet about it as well.
She slowly nods. She continues. Thank you. Thank you very much. And she slowly walks over to her desk. A little bit more full of herself, a little confident than she was after the mayor's death. But still, you can see, before all you saw was just shock and just terror and fear. But now you see real, genuine grief, as though she's lost a friend, and now she's having to deal with that. And she just sort of walks with this sort of vague purpose as she goes to take her seat behind her desk.
I'm sorry, Curiosity. I couldn't in good conscience convince her to let you go look at the documents, since that seemed to be what you were aiming for.
Well, we just don't have the time.
There's that as well. We have to get over to Tela's house or Tela's store and talk with her a little bit, and then we've got our meeting with Novi later.
Curiosity frowns, a little disappointed, but nods and says, well, at least we got something from it. Still, I would have liked to pour through. It might have been interesting to see the town's history.
It's not bad.
Thank you. Harmony, make a perception check.
Oh, also as a side note, when I told Kyreth that we wouldn't be able to go in the vault, he texted me a very long boo.
Well,
never mind. It was just a 2-0 boo. Never mind.
It was going to be his adventure anyway, so he's got to be here for his adventure. So if he's not here, we can't go on that adventure.
Harmony, as you're nodding, talking to the two of them, you suddenly take a double glance as you see Gorm just nonchalantly with his back behind the wall, listening in on all of you. You didn't see him come in, and it sort of surprises you a little bit.
I just kind of raise my eyebrows at him. I won't say anything. So off to Tela's then.
Yes, I think the more information we have, the better off we'll be. If we figure out, or if we can get some information from Tela before we head over to the wall, or before we head over to Laura's house, we may be better prepared for what's going on. If she has nothing, then we know there's something going on over there. We should still be cautious.
Yeah, on the way there, I'm gonna keep an eye out for the black cat, and if I see it, distract curiosity into looking the other direction.
Okay. Winter, Olaf, what have you been doing this time?
I was listening to the conversation in there. Sorry, I meant to move my token.
Okay. Olaf, you're trying to make a copy?
Oh, I don't have the things that I need to do that, but I just the idea just occurred to me that it might be a good idea to do that.
Okay. While this discussion is going on, being that you're in a map room, slash library, slash, office, pretty much slash everything paper-wise needed to run this town, go ahead and make an intelligent, go ahead and make a perception searching to just find some basic materials that would allow you to do that. And it shouldn't be that hard to find. A 10 is actually exactly what you needed.
Hooray!
So yeah, while this discussion is going on, you quickly find some tracing paper and a little bit of charcoal and begin, and this is a fairly easy task for you. Being a cartographer, you're able to quickly just kind of jot down the things you need to remind yourself of how the map works, and just make a quick drawing with the tracing paper over the map to have a copy of it.
Okay.
You are just finishing this up when you see the assistant mayor coming into her office, heading towards the desk, which you are right now at, tracing this, and you quickly scramble and trying to take your things away, but she doesn't seem to notice you. She just continues to walk and then slowly sits behind her desk. Doesn't even really seem to register that you're standing there.
Okay. Have I gleaned everything that can be gleaned from these books?
Yeah. For the short amount of time you've been here, yeah, that's about all you can get.
Okay. Then I'll put them back on the shelf and thank the assistant mayor again and go rejoin my party.
Okay. The rest of you heading out?
That's my plans, to head out to Tela's. Guessing people are going to come. Vinda probably doesn't have a choice.
No, she's sleeping on your shoulder. She's got no choice.
All right. You all start making your way out of the assistant mayor's building.
Yeah, speaking of which, though, I will also pester Gorm for my particular chunk of the of the reward.
So
Okay.
how do you?
Gorm, make me a dexterity check, please. Okay. As you get to about here on the map, Olaf, you turn to ask your brother a question, and he's not there. You kind of look around a little bit, and he's not in front. And then you turn back again, and you see him sort of tailing behind the rest of you, coming out of the assistant mayor's office. And then as he approaches, you ask him your question.
So Gorm hands everyone 8 silver.
What?
60 silver divided by it's like 7 people.
Six people. Oh wait a minute. Oh no, you're right. 7.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute.
Forgot about curiosity. His thing is gone.
Yeah, now that the loud talking constantly isn't here.
Alright. With that, you exit for Tela's house.
So he hands out 7 or 8 per?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
$8 silver. So that's the same as 80 coppers, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. As you all make your way down from the upper city, or the upper part of the city, you notice about now it's getting close to like 4:45, and as you're walking by, you do see a couple of food caravans coming up, with on the label on the side of them, Crimson Force Tavern. And you see people unloading these, what looks to be food, ale, and setting up some kind of large tent, a half tent, and surrounding sort of one of the larger buildings. It seems that what Novi told you about there being some sort of party or festival is taking place over in that corner, and these people are setting up for it. You move through the town. There's not as many people out in the streets right now. Either they're not out shopping anymore, or everyone's out preparing for the festival. You're not entirely certain. But it's a little bit of a more peaceful walk now. You're not having to elbow strangers as you're walking through the city. You come once again, for some of you, closer to Tela's house. which also seems to double as a magic shop of sorts and alchemists. You can, as the swinging sign says, you see in bold but also stylized calligraphy, golden letters, the mirror image, alchemist shop / magic shop / doctor's office, walk-ins welcome. Bit of a long title, and as you're looking at like the outside of her building, once again, it's much more colorful than all the other bland sandstone buildings that only have tapestries to adorn them. This is painted in bright blues and purples.
Gaudy and ostentatious.
A little. Yes. But also there's a certain pattern to it. It definitely stands out, and it's definitely ostentatious, but it's not untasteful. And to one side of the building there is what looks to be sort of like a half glass dome, sort of in almost like a tower-like structure onto the roof. And you can see what look like maybe plants sticking up from the interior of that dome. In the exterior, the windows have pretty little flower pots lined up underneath them. There are these like sort of purple bushes standing on either side of the purple sort of diamond-esque doorway, with a couple stairs leading up. Winter, who's been here before, kind of leads you up and sets herself up, kind of looks at you all and getting ready to knock on the door.
I knock on the door.
Okay. So, you all, as Winter knocks on the door, a familiar voice is heard from the other side. Who is it?
It's Winter.
Oh, Winter, darling! Come on in, it's unlocked.
I open the door and walk in.
As you walk in, your eyes are drawn to an incredible array of knickknacks, magical items, strange things you've never seen before. There are items that seem to float in the air. There's in a corner, there's some sort of purple glass cylinder which is drip dropping some purple glowing liquid into a basin or a bowl. There are shelves that some have cases of potions inside of them. Others have look to be like small crystal balls, or one of them has an inkwell with a purple and very ostentatious quill sticking out of it. The rest of you kind of come in. You're having to sort of kind of make room. The shop is not terribly large. it's just kind of small, and with 7 individuals, it's a little bit difficult for you. But you all managed to kind of get in and find a place in there. Or sorry, 6 individuals and a tiny fairy who has no problem fitting anywhere. But you managed to get in. Harmony and Curiosity had to kind of curl their wings in to prevent them from, brushing knickknacks here and there. At the far wall is another round circular window, large, and it just lets in Sunasta light, just beams in through the room. And once again, you hear the voice. Just a moment. I'm nearly done. I'm so pleased to hear you come in, dear Winter. I have so much to share, and I'm sure you've got so much to share with me. I'm really excited to hear about what your tavern adventures have given you.
Oh, yes!
As you say that and don't continue your sentence, all of a sudden, a face pops up from behind the counter, just shoots up, and it catches you a little bit off guard as as Tela just seems to appear from behind the counter. She puts her hand up on there, and you can now see, every time you've seen her before, she's worn this cloak on her, but now she's wearing this beautiful blue velvet dress, and that just seems to fit her form just perfectly. And on her neck piece is this is a gem that is the exact same color as the necklace, but her red hair is a little bit more kept now, not as tousled as it was before, and it just flows down her sleeveless shoulders as she says, "Yes, you did find something then."
Well, Ari found more than I did. I just drank coffee.
Yes, I found a few things. I was just waiting on Winter to fill you in on what she knows.
Well, don't keep me in suspense. I'm excited. Tell me. You must tell me what it is you found.
Winter glances at Ari with this look, and then glances back at Tela. Ari, I'm sure you know it much better than I do.
And he's just giving you the biggest cat got the mouse's smile ever. Well, that I may, but you seem like you knew quite a bit. My dear Tela, we found out that it appears that the beloved mare was under at least some kind of enchantment. There is eyewitness testimonies pretty much confirming that he could be swayed with a kiss. We are talking being swayed from pure anger to the point of walking away from somebody to prevent harm, to being completely happy that they are there. This particular lady, who we've also identified as probably being the so-called L that is here or there and has been seen going, or has been recorded going into the records room in the mayor's office, is Lalora, a particular waitress from the Crimson Force, and she had been working there for about 3 months, give or take. And then all of a sudden, about a month ago is when she began hanging out or serving exclusively the mayor. He would request her and whatnot. About a month ago is about when it started, and It's very intriguing about this young lady.
You see, she kind of, as she listens to you, she rubs the under part of her chin. She nods and she nods and she listens. And then as you say Lalora, her head just sort of twitches and she says, Lalora.
I don't know if you've seen the mayor's watch, but it had a picture of, well, someone matching what the waitress described as her.
Ah, yes, of course. I promised you I would get you his things. And she reaches underneath her desk and she pulls up the silver watch and hands it to you, Harmony. As promised, here it is. Lalora, you think that the woman in the watch is the same woman?
From what the head waitress described, yeah, it sounds like the same person.
Huh. Well, anyway, it sounds as though you guys have had some exciting times and you've learned quite a bit. So, tell me, what's your working hypothesis?
For this one, it's a bit stretching right now because we don't have quite all the facts here. Matter of fact, we hope to see what you have, what information you have, and if we can't combine it with what we are going to find out in a little while, we have an appointment to go speak with Novi, and she's going to show us where Lalora lives. So we're going to go there and investigate as much as possible. But the current working theory, at least mine, is that Lalora probably enchanted the mayor with some, I'm not sure what, but enchanted him with a charm of some kind, and is probably in league with possible Troglodytes, and probably use them to try to steal as many, or to dig and find as many relics as they possibly could. It was one of the first things we did when we got here yesterday. In fact, we finished it up this morning, and there's also possibilities of an imp being involved.
Her eyebrow raises. An imp, you say? Now, why on earth would an imp be a part of this investigation?
That is something that we're trying to figure out. One of the things we found out is that Lalora has conversations with somebody in her house. So we're not sure who, but it fits with what we've been hearing, and right now it's just pure conjecture, but we'll see what happens.
That reminds me, what did you find in that hole in that cave?
I thought we talked about that already. I don't know, something about a Shadow Soul Necromancer statue or something, I think.
Yes, it was a necromancer, or at least a statue of a necromancer with a
That was in
flower.
character. I was asking, by the
Rose.
way, are you responding in character?
Yes, that's a character.
Once I find my notes. Yes, it was a statue related to the Shadow Soul War with a rose, on his belt and a 5-pointed star also located on the statue. I believe it was around the head, but it was also around the rose as well, if I remember right.
If
Wait.
the excavation and
Wait,
the
wait,
woman
wait,
are
wait, wait.
connected. Yes.
Where did you find this? Go over that again.
We found a statue in the cave the Troglodytes were located at, over at Strayals Den. They referenced a boss man who we pretty much nailed down as the imp, and the lady who they don't usually talk to. And it seems that Miss Lelora is the lady, or that's the current hypothesis.
No. I've heard all that. I'm talking. You found in the cave a statue with a 5-pointed star and a rose head on his belt.
Yes.
One moment.
Alright.
You see, she quickly darts over to a bookshelf behind her. She starts going through her books. And, no, not that one, not that one. Oh, certainly not that one. Aha! And she pulls out a leather-bound brown book, and she licks her fingers, and she starts combing through the pages, and she starts reading, and for the next 10 minutes, she just stands there. Just a moment. No need to rush.
It may not be connected, but it feels too coincidental, or too... It feels too much like there's something going on here for me to ignore it. I do believe... You found it?
As though she's not even heard of where she just sat, she comes up to the counter and she turns the book around, slams it on there, and she says, I knew I had heard of this before. She points to a part of her page. Written in black ink, there's a picture that she's pointing to, and you see a beautiful, pale woman with long hair, and she seems to be floating, and she's in this long, flowy dress. She seems to be floating, but it's as though the wind has caught her from the front, and it's all of the material that's floating is flat against the page. And behind her is a 5-pointed star, and it seems to emanate from her. This, now that you mention it, I've heard of this. If anyone who paid attention to history would, it sounds an awful lot like the cult of the Blood Red Rose.
What?
The cult of the Blood Red Rose. They were quite popular in Deshan. It was this legend said to have been founded by the mother of vampires herself. Blah 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 blah. It was this cult. It 300 years ago was a bit of a pain for the people in Deshan, but I hadn't realized that a couple of them had bled over to this part until I was traveling here. And she folds the book over to reveal the title of the book, and it's Interesting Tidbits of Zagahta. Now, I didn't realize this until I bought this guidebook. And it says that at one point, about 300 years ago, the cult of the Blood Red Rose had made their way here, and that they were just beginning to begin their illicit acts until a group of adventurers had stopped them.
Group of adventurers? Would that be the ones at the picture in the tavern?
She brightens as she looks at you and says, Yes, exactly, yes, you are correct, now that I remember. Yes, the tavern, it used to have another name, but it was renamed into the Crimson Force Tavern after these heroes saved them from the cultists. I believe, in fact, that the tavern has some sort of monument to the heroes. It's quite beautiful to see. I can't quite remember. It's been ages since I've been in the tavern. But anyway, yes, this cult was a big deal here. But no, these heroes took care of it and became heroes to Zagahta. But it was 300 years ago. Hardly worth mentioning. Well, to you lesser races. For me, it was, well, much shorter time. But anyway, as I'm saying, it's interesting that you brought that up. That statue that you found, perhaps it's the remnants of that cult 300 years ago. But why would someone, an outsider, be coming and looking for that now? There's nothing of value there. It was made sure... Those cases were cleared out, and they made sure that no one could ever use them again. Actually, worth it? I don't remember. And she starts... At this point, she starts sort of monologuing to herself, trying to recall histories, and then she veers off into other things, and you're kind of... She seems to sort of be losing herself in thought.
Anyways, as I was about to say, getting into the documents, maybe it has something to do with finding information to lead her to locations to dig.
They said the Trogs said something about finding shiny, but we tried getting more information out of them, but they just knew that they were looking for something that was shiny.
And we're told to dig in a very specific place, it appears.
What? Oh, yes. Well, Troglodytes would say that. You wouldn't really want to tell them much. You see, they're not very good at keeping secrets. You can pay them, and they work well for a short period of time, but eventually they get distracted. They're quite non-intelligent creatures. Part of the failed Enlightenment attempts. No matter. I wouldn't expect much from them. The what?
Gorm just blinks.
Did I say something?
What was that about failed enlightenment?
Oh, of course, not something you would know. The Enlightenment. You all know what that is, yes?
Gorm just stares blinkingly.
Does no one read any history on a story?
Do we know?
Make a history check. This would be intelligence.
I don't need to make one. I know I don't know.
Ari is lost in thought, so he's... I'm not going to roll, because, again, he's lost in thought. He's...
Oh, come on.
That was really close.
You have no idea what she's talking about.
Apparently that bit of detail didn't get to my fairy village, or whatever. For some reason.
Harmony, you've heard the word enlightenment? It seems to be... She seems to be using it in a way that you're not familiar with.
Yeah.
Kyrath is going to be really disappointed he wasn't here for this to roll.
Which, by the way, for those of you paying attention, you all do notice the curiosity lost in the trinkets. He is examining every single object, anything that looks out of the ordinary. He has not paid attention to any of the conversation. He is just staring at books and trinkets and anything that looks shiny.
Which reminds me, Gorm is standing very far away from anything shiny or breakable or expensive looking. So it's probably the center of the most open area of the room.
Can we get back? Do you have any idea what the shiny might be? Because we have no idea.
She looks a little disappointed that she doesn't get the chance to explain her history to you. And says, yes, very well. It's shiny. That literally could mean anything. As I said, Troglodytes are not exactly trustworthy individuals, and so you wouldn't want to tell them very much. I'm trying to think. The book doesn't mention anything, and I don't remember any particular object being of importance to the cultists. It was more their presence that was needing to be banished.
So their presence needed to be banished. So that would mean that there would be plenty of survivors from at least this area, right?
Oh, yes. Fortunately, they were stopped before they could do any real damage. I believe it was... yes, it was the the granddaughter, what's her name, from the tavern. She was kidnapped by them. Her grandfather was one of the people who hired the adventurers to bring back. She was one of them.
Novi was one of the adventurers that went out with them?
No. She was far too young. She was, I think she was only about 10 or 12. No, she was kidnapped by the cultists. She was going to be a blood sacrifice, but unfortunately the adventurers did stop them in time. And it kind of catches you off guard how easily she just says this, so she's continuing to think about other things, and this is only an interesting side note.
Yeah, Gorm is just standing there, kind of like, what?
But yes, the problem was, they were a bit of a problem in Deshan, and they were just starting to bleed into Quintus. So people were, by this time that we were quite aware of what was going on, and we wanted to keep them away from other continents. At Stora, of course, we were quite diligent in making sure that it did not come here, but, Quintus was not exactly as secure. Fortunately, though, yes, the villagers were able to pool their resources and hire the adventurers to get them away. And then eventually, other adventurers and peoples banished the cultist, and she was killed a long time ago. The Bloodred Rose, that is. But beyond that, I don't remember... Wait a minute. You said the Laura was looking in the archives?
Yes. Or at least it's possible that she could have been.
Ah! Of course, then! If there was anything of significance, it would have been stored in the histories and the archives. Such information would not want to be lost, but also would not want to be public information. That must be what she was looking for, if there was anything of importance, that is. And of course, no one in town, except for perhaps the mayor at the time, would have thought it was that important, or would have tried to keep it hidden. So, of course, it would make sense that Heartgaze knows nothing about it. Well, this is quite an interesting development. Much more than I thought it would be. Honestly, I thought that it was just some woman trying to gain his money, and that's what most love enchantments are used for these days. Right, well, was there anything I was supposed to tell you?
Cause of death?
Yes.
Oh, exactly, right. Well, I can 100% guarantee you that it was not natural.
I thought we had already established that.
No, we've established that it was 80% not natural, but now I'm 100% certain it was not.
Do you have any idea as to what it could have been?
Yes and no. Definitely magical. The exact magic is perplexing.
Well, now that we think that there's this connection to all this, can you have any better idea?
Well, based on things you've discovered with me, cultists, strange kisses that seem to devoid someone of anger, I think we're dealing perhaps with something in the realm of either necromancy or demonology. Of the two, though, I cannot either confirm nor deny either. It's about a 50-50 at this point.
Alarm doesn't really look very comfortable when she says those things. If you can tell beneath all the wrapping.
Sort of shifting in place. Yes, it's quite fascinating. Unfortunately, Shadow Soul magic is, by nature, the same and tainted, which makes it more difficult to identify and pin down exactly which kind of servants. But, I'm sorry, I'm still stuck on the name Laura. I swear I've heard this name before, and it is embedded in my brain, but I cannot quite remember where. I don't know. I'll think about it. Perhaps if I get a good night's sleep, perhaps I'll remember it. Or maybe it'll come to me in a dream. That's happened before.
Do you think it's possible that one of the cultists was named Lalora?
She squints real hard and she stares off into her wall. She squints so hard you almost wonder if it's the kind it's like someone who needs glasses but doesn't realize they need glasses, and for a second you wonder if you've broken her in some way before she just suddenly her eyes pop back to their normal and dart back to you. Nope, I have no idea.
Alright, well, thank you for your help. It's most useful. If we have time before we go see Novi, I would like to check in with the assistant mayor. This is interesting. But yeah, Novi is... she's a person of interest, at least right now.
Well, tell me what you find. I'm very curious to see how this ends. I'm very rarely a part of history. Well, that's not true, but I'm excited when it happens. Anyway, what was I going to say? Oh, yes, if you do go and see the assistant, please let her know that the autopsy is ready and she can take the mayor's body whenever she wishes.
Oh, did you find any marks on the mayor's body?
See, now that's the thing. I didn't find a one. The only interesting thing was, as I said, his pale skin. Except that I noticed his lips. His lips had traces of lipstick on them. And underneath the skin was the darkest blue I've ever seen, as though all the blood vessels were rushed up there. It was quite freaky, I must tell you. It was a little gross, actually. But other than that, no.
What?
Oh, yay.
What do vampires? What is a vampire?
Now it's her turn to look at you and almost in disbelief. If you don't know that question, I'm not going to ruin your happy bliss of ignorance. I suggest you continue on with what you're doing. Please let me know on what the rest of your investigation leads to.
Could that have something to do with this?
Oh, no, I highly doubt it. Vampires leave marks. Again,
Laura still just looks confused.
Again, trust me, they're not a creature you would like to ever be familiar with. Pray you never are.
Considering what we're researching here, it might be a good thing to know.
You said the blood vessels were were collected near the lips, correct?
Oh, it simply looked like that. I didn't cut his lips to confirm it. That would have been a little unseemly. He is going to have to be buried. But, more like, and she takes your arm, Olav, and she, without asking you, lifts up one of your sleeves and to look at your arm.
He reacts violently and pulls it back the moment she does that.
Olav.
Oh, I was gonna say.
Wait, what's happening?
As she's trying to explain what she was describing, without warning Olaf, she takes your arm and pulls back one of your sleeves and starts examining your arm, and just sort of peeling through your skin with her finger.
A karate chopper in the neck.
Oh dear.
No, I pull my arm away from her and I just look at her like she's got worms crawling out of her ears.
Make a strength check.
I can
Oh
do
dear.
that. I'm pretty strong. Strength. Oh man.
You try to pull, but her grip like just tightens. It's very disorienting. In the fact, and like she's kind of seemed like this plucky person, kind of odd. You wouldn't have guessed the amount of strength she has, but as you try to pull it back, she grips tighter, and she looks in, and she bends your arm and puts it into Ares' face and says, "You see those lines on his arm? See how they kind of look blue?"
Let go of me immediately.
She doesn't listen to you. See, that is what we call a
Or
blood
please
vessel.
help.
Stabby stab.
Yeah, Gorm just got his hand at this dagger and has got his part way out of the sheath.
No,
And you see-
needle stab into the hand that's holding him.
And you
Now.
you see the blood on his lips. They were this kind
what
of
do I
blue,
roll?
but much darker.
Can you guys hear me?
Go ahead and make an attack roll. But she's just holding his arm and talking and not even paying attention to the rest of you.
And Aria's just studying this and figuring out, trying to figure this all out. Did you really dive bomb the lady?
That will not hit. So, as she explains this to you, Vinda, you come with the needle trying to help your friend, and right as you go to stab her in the arm, she just releases Olaf's arm, and you miss just by inches and stab into the counter of the counter wood.
So, he had blood at least pulled into his lips. Maybe not necessarily out, but at least pulled to them. Were there any wounds on his, or any wounds inside of his mouth?
No, not whatsoever. Like I said, not a single mark on his body.
This is interesting. Okay.
Olaf, she looks at you and just smiles. Anyway, as I said, you should continue your investigations. I'll let you know if there's anything else that develops. And please keep me informed.
Alright, will do. Oh, sorry, Vinda. And Ari will reach down and pull the needle out of the countertop.
Thank you.
No problem, Vinda. It's alright.
And I glare at Tela.
No hurting a source of information, at least not right now. Yes. You can yell at me later, but no, not right now.
Rumble some more and go back to my perch.
What time is it now?
You're approaching 6 o'clock.
I'm gonna go over to Curiosity because I've now noticed that he's just like looking at stuff. Like, is there anything interesting?
Oh, yes, very much so. See, there is this book here. on healing magic, and another one on terra magic, and another one on fire magic. And look, see, this one is on potion making, and there's this odd-looking quill. I'm not sure what it does, but it feels quite fancy. Here, and he hands it to you. Just plucks it out of the ink quill and hands it over to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna just look at him and not take him. Like, put that back.
Why? You must feel it. I've never felt a texture like this before.
I'm good.
Oh yeah, out of character. Winter potion.
Anything on metal magic? Also, that healing magic thing might be useful for you. Well, we can worry about that once we finish our exploits tonight.
That might be wise. Most of these things seem very expensive. He holds the Terra book to you and says, "This one, I think it has some mentions on metal magic, but I believe it's 5 gold.
That is rather pricey.
Also, out of character, we were promised a potion. Someone should bring that up. Probably the potion person.
I got nothing to say to this grabby lady. I just want to leave.
I think Gorm's already inching towards the door, carefully avoiding the expensive stuff that is probably everywhere.
Tela, you did mention at one point that you'd be willing to give us a potion.
Yes, of course. What is it that I can provide you? I've got many potions here," and she motions her hand to the counter below her main counter, which is, you can say, it just has a nice, pretty line of vials in different colors.
Oh, well, what kinds do you have?
Many kind. I have kinds for healing of physical wounds. I have those for healing. Those magical reserves are low. Let me see. She's looking through one of her ledgers. It may also be the GM's ledger. I have potions that will make you make you stronger for a short amount of time if you are a mage. I have other potions that will give you strength for extreme strength for a minute for those of you who prefer more combat approaches.
I think at this point, Gorm's inched his way out the door.
But of course, there's nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned health potion. You'll never know when that will come in handy.
Winter nods slowly as she says that. Yes. Do you have a master healing potion?
Let me see. Currently, what I have available of the highest order of my potions is a single greater potion.
That'll do.
Very well. She lifts it from its perch, and you just see this rather large glass vial filled to the brim with a red liquid and a small tag tied to it that says Greater Health Potion. Winter. So this Greater Healing Potion will heal you for 4d6 plus Constitution health.
That's a lot.
How much?
4d6 plus Constitution.
Okay.
Right. Well, now that that's out of the way, I should let you know that if you do manage to solve this case, I'm not sure how much reward everyone else will give you, but I promise that for myself, I'll give you a discount from the shop. Should you complete your quest, though. Gotta give you something to be motivated by, yes?
Well, that is very kind of you. Thank you.
You are quite welcome, of course. Well, if there's nothing else.
Yes. Thank you for your help, Tela. We'll see you later.
Of course. Follow the rest, my friends.
The light guides you, and Ari will head towards the door.
Alright.
Winter follows.
I drag curiosity away from everything.
But I haven't finished looking at the books yet. I haven't finished reading them all.
Yeah, we can come back later.
Very well. As you two are the last ones out, and as you drag him back out onto the streets of Zagahta, the sun going down and the cool air blowing through the streets, you guys prepare for the next leg of your journey, and to the potential clues of who this Laura figure is. We're gonna end the night here.
And I wanted to like her. Now I don't.
She's great. She's very helpful.
She needed an example, and unfortunately humans are the only ones with blue blood vessels.
Pretty much.
Oh yeah, that reminds me. Yeah, I'm gonna like as soon as we leave, I'm going to the market to try and find something to like head coverings for me, like head/face coverings for me and Curiosity.
Woofer.
Well, we glow, number one, so if we're doing secret things, it's not very helpful.
Alright, and I suppose with that, we'll go ahead and close out the video. Thank you for joining us, guys. It was another fun night, and we got to investigate a bit more. There was even an attack roll made. There could have been more, but we'll see what happens. Thank you for joining us in on YouTube. Those of you who watch the videos, thank you, and I hope you all have a good night, and God bless.